Hey everyone, in previous videos we've worked with places like Railway and Cloudflare to deploy our applications. Well, we're gonna get a little bit closer to bare metal, not exactly, but almost, by deploying to Kubernetes. And we're gonna start with Kubernetes on your PC. And to do that, we're gonna use a tool called minikube. The purpose of this video and this upcoming videos in the series is to get you to a point where you have a dotnet application, both the API, a backend database, as well as a front end deployed to a Kubernetes cluster. So if this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned and let's go. All right, first thing we need minikube installed. So if you go to this URL here, which is minikube.sigs.k8s.io, go there and you're going to arrive at this page. And the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Get Started on the left, and you want to choose your operating system, architecture, and all this other stuff, and essentially install minikube on your PC. For minikube, so I'm on Windows, so I like to choose, well, obviously Windows, and then the exe download down here. Once you have the exe, you just double click it and it installs. I already have it installed. And then we'll get there. We'll get to the minikube start part. Before you install minikube, you might also have to install Docker. Now, I'm assuming you already have Docker. This isn't like a Docker 101 course. So please get Docker installed for Windows first. It's free. Well, at least up to $1 million in revenue, it's free. So get that installed, then minikube after that. All right, once you have minikube installed, that is not yet the end. The next thing that they're gonna want you to install is kubectl. So generally, if you're already got it installed, you can skip this part. But kubectl is something that allows you, it's a tool, it's a CLI tool that lets you interact with your cluster. Now, not just the cluster that's on your PC, but also any other cluster that you may have in the cloud. So kubectl is another tool that you have to get. Fortunately, it already comes with minikube, as you can see here. And if you want, you can alias it. I do not recommend doing this. I recommend actually installing the kubectl tool because you're gonna use it to work with clusters in the cloud later on. So for now, let's go ahead and just say we're done with installing minikube. We're done with installing kubectl. There's actually a couple more tools that we want to install. Next is going to be Helm. So Helm is essentially a tool that lets you write better templates. The main thing it's used for is grouping a bunch of assets together and installing them in the cluster all at once. For example, you need a config map and a deployment and a service and an ingress. All of that can be done with a Helm chart. And we'll go over this in a future video about how Helm works. But go ahead and install Helm. So I like to actually use winget on Windows. So here's the command. You'll just open a command prompt or terminal and type in winget install helm.helm, and you should be good to go. There are a couple other tools I want to talk about. First is K8s. So this is actually a really cool tool that lets you see what's running on your cluster and lets you read the logs and all this other. It's kind of like a in-terminal dashboard for your cluster. We're going to use this also in the next set of videos to see, what our cluster is looking like. But you can get K8s at K9scli.io. Go ahead and install that. I do believe they have a winget way to install this, and I do believe it's winget install K9s. And one last tool we're going to be using is kubectx and kubeNS. These are basically shortcut tools to switch between first context, which essentially means cluster. So for example, you have a cluster on your PC and then you have a cluster in Azure and you want to be able to switch between them. Well, that'll let you do that. And then an S means your namespace. So if you have a namespace that you usually work with, for example, your namespace could be called production or something like that, then you would just say kubernetes production and it would set that namespace as your default. Therefore, like you wouldn't need to go like -n and kubectl. You would need to go -n and then the namespace name. You can just skip that. It's a convenience tool, but yeah, it saves you a lot of typing in the long run. So you can come and get this tool, and I'll put a link to it, of course, in the description, as well as all the other tools we've talked about. But yeah, so those are the tools that you need to get installed. And now let's take a look at what that looks like in terminal once you have them installed. All right, so before we can run minikube on our PC, we actually need to set up Docker Desktop first. So as you can see here, I already have Docker Desktop installed. I don't really have anything running on here right now, and I don't have the image required for minikube. So when we type in minikube start, it's going to download the image and it's going to start the container up in here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the terminal window, because that's where all the magic will happen. As you can see here, I'm running it as an administrator. This is necessary, I believe. I wasn't able to get it running in regular terminal. So anyway, I have it up in here. We can take a look at minikube. There are a lot of commands you can execute in here. The one that we're interested in is actually this start command here. So let's go ahead and type that in, minikube start. And as you can see here, it's going to pull the base image, and we'll be able to pull that up in Docker. You'll see that it'll grab the image will appear in here once it's downloaded by minikube. There it is. Okay, so here's the image, and it's going to start creating the container from that image back in the terminal. Let's give it a few moments. And here we are. It appears that it is done. So we have a running container. Now we can type in minikube status, and it'll tell us that we have a running kubelet, API server, and everything is legit. All right, so now that we have the cluster installed, one thing I like to do first is I like to just see what we're dealing with in terms of nodes, right? So if we type in kubectl, remember this is the CLI that we have to interact with Kubernetes, and we type in get all, it'll tell us that we do have a Kubernetes cluster running. So we can actually also get namespaces, and it'll tell us what the namespaces are that are inside the cluster. We can also get all the pods, and then we can just say -a, it'll tell us, it'll give us all the pods running and all of the namespaces. And you can see here that we have a few things that are running that minikube gives us out of the box. etc, that's used by Kubernetes to store data. We have something called a storage provisioner. So this is for storage class. So we'll get there. We're not there yet, but it's essentially for provisioning storage on your computer or in the Docker container this is based on. And we have a few other things running in here as well. But in any case, we do have a cluster up and running. And we can take an even closer look by running K8s. So if you've installed this, the command to run it is just K8s. You type that in, press enter. You'll be greeted with this screen that has nothing in it. But that is because we are in the default namespace. You can see that up in here, default. What we actually want is we want to press 0, and that'll give us all of the pods that are running in the cluster. So by just coming in here, and then you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to go up and down, you can see these are the pods. We'll be using K8s throughout this series a little bit more, so I'm not going to go into depth here. But hey, you've installed a Kubernetes cluster, you have it up and running on your PC. So I'll see you in the next video where we're going to start creating assets, things like namespaces, config maps, secrets, and stuff like that. So I'll see you there.